We've got to meet Ming in 3 months at the village at the base of the mountain where Ming lives. And so she's got to get back there. Now remember, it's already been 6 weeks since she left. Sorry, that's right. It's been 6 weeks that she's been here. My bad. My father said I can come to help you, and I want to help you. On the ground, etched into the stone, I mean, like etched deeply into the marble-like stone on the floor, is a ring, a circle, a magic circle. And she recognizes it immediately. It's a circle for the spell teleport. I think that this stone was here keeping some kind of power in check underneath the rings. On the altar at the end of the room is a large 2-foot diameter orb. And it seems to be floating over the altar. And it seems to be somewhat, it's almost looking, it's like looking at what looks to be a current of liquid inside, flowing and moving and swirling. It's got a weird purplish glowing aura. The inside of the liquid looks silvery. 5 + 2 = 7. She's unable to resist the urge. She must touch it. Alright. So she slowly reaches forward, and holds back her hand, but then touches it again. When Jem takes her hand away from the floating, about 2-foot diameter black purplish orb that has little spindles of silver in it occasionally, she notices that the same kind of material is on her fingers now. And it begins to spread around her hand. And at first she's worried, but then it's so cold it burns. And she begins, flailing her hand around trying to get it off, but it won't come off. And eventually it settles on the back of her hand right here, where she's trying to rub it off on the wall or on the altar. Nothing's working. It's staying there. And it forms an oval-shaped gem on her hand. And she looks at it, horror in her eyes, as it begins to burrow itself deep into her hand, and pain rings out throughout her whole arm, and pain shoots up the side of her forearm, and she's freaking out, trying to shake it off, but it burrows deeper and deeper and deeper until eventually the skin encloses around it, and all that's left is a narrow slit where she looks closely and she swears she can see a small face in the murky depths of the stone before it fades away. This is not a good thing. Okay, that's not very good. Okay, so last session, Jem has entered into the ruins by her village, the same ruins where she saw Jenny conversing with some devilish demonic person named Keimer. And so now she's come back to this place, back to these same ruins, to maybe find some clue to who Keimer is and what he wants, and hopefully maybe find out where her sister has gone. And so she's in these ruins, and she finds a secret door behind the altar where Jenny spoke with Keimer, and even behind that where the stone once stood that Jenny was interacting with. On the floor there was this teleport spell etched into the ground permanently, meaning that this is a place where someone comes and goes regularly. And behind that, there's where she found the secret door. She evaded some traps, some well, some not so well, and eventually she's got a mild poisoning of a similar poisoning from the spider. So her head's all, she's very lightheaded right now, and maybe not thinking clearly because she stumbles upon this black sphere, this black purplish sphere floating above an altar in a room at the far end of the dungeon, at the far end of the secret passageway, and against her better judgment, and because she felt her safe, she touches it. And what just happened? Now this stone has embedded itself into the back of her hand right here, and who knows what it does. We'll have to find someone with some magical capability to tell us that. Jem is, as we've found out so far, not the person to do that. So, if you're just now following along, my name is Kenneth, I'm the Lone Dice Guy, and this is my solo 5th edition Dungeons & Dragons adventure, normally as Ming Zhao, but today as Jem Lovec, one of his companions. And the more I get into Jem's story, the more I get into who she is and kind of what her place in the story will be. This is very much turning out to be like the old, Eastern, Chinese, Japanese, Korean myths, where the main character, the one we're following along for most of the story, they're not powerful, they're not strong, they're not the one that saves the world. It's actually their companions. They are responsible for gathering the people that save the world. And Ming is turning out to be just like that. So I'm fine with that, but I'm enjoying getting to play through Jem's story and kind of figure out why she even is adventuring in the first place. But for now, she's got this thing in her hand. Who knows what it does? And there's one more room she hasn't explored yet. Remember, the key terms we rolled for this little mini dungeon are device, puzzle, and stealth, which we've already dealt with that. So there was traps. She had to jump onto platforms while being stealthy and wasn't very good at that. And there was a puzzle to solve. She already figured that out as well. Now we've got roleplay and revelation. Who knows what that means? So we'll deal with that in a moment. Before we get to that, it is a new scene. Jem is going deeper into the dungeon to figure out, hopefully, some information about Keimer or about Jenny. I think it's safe to say that our chaos rank has gone up to 6. Very much safe to say that. Even though Jem was in full control of last session, she made a blunder, and now she looks to be even more cursed than she was before. Who knows what this little stone in her hand does? But let's roll for chaos. 6, 7. Okay, so we're good. The scene's going to play out exactly like we think it should, and we'll figure that out in a moment. So we're going further into the dungeon, and we've got to figure this out. So we know that there's revelation and roleplay coming up, and I've kind of thought about this beforehand. One thing you have to realize, if you're going to run your own solo games, you can't just generate. You can generate an entirely as you go. But there are even people like Trevor Duvall, who inspired me to do this channel in the first place. Even he says that he sometimes spends time out of session thinking about what's going to happen. So if you got to do that, trust me, you're not alone. So I've thought a little about what's happening here, and I think I know I think I know the direction we're going. So Jem leaves the room, rubbing her hand, touching almost afraid to touch the stone itself, so rubbing the area around it. She reaches into her pack and pulls out maybe the glove she uses when she's in the desert and puts that on her hand. She doesn't even want to see it, just wants it covered. So she goes into this other room, and it's the door in front of the door she's met with is a large stone door. And I'm imagining that, well, actually, let's do this. What's on the door? What's there? 28, separate, and 79, vehicle, separate vehicle. So Jem comes up to this door, and there's an inscription on it. And she kind of touches it a little bit and pushes, so it's easy. She can tell it's easily moved. Like, it's got a handle, it's easy to pull in and out. But I think the inscription, when she gets close, and especially when she touches the door, it shifts and moves to kind of fit her language, which I think is what we're just going to say it's like Elvish, because she's half Elvish. So it fits and moves to be an Elven, and she reads it, and it basically warns people that anyone entering into this room has to be prepared to be separated from their body, to die, to have their soul rended from their mortal coil. And I think that gives her a pause, as it rightfully should. But we're here for answers. And I think, and Jem thinks in her addled, lightheaded state, that there are answers on the other side of this door. And it's now or never. She's got to find them. Remember we talked about last session how it looks like the sands of the desert are encroaching so far into the ruin that in a month's time this will be inaccessible. And so it's now or never. She has to find the answers she seeks now, or she never will. So she slowly pulls the door open. It's scraping and stuff as she pulls it. Inside, what I imagine is there is a large octagonal-shaped room, and in the middle, there is a large pedestal with a sarcophagi sitting in front of it. And along the edges of the room, it looks almost like a burial chamber. There's like holes cut into the wall where several bodies and things are buried, mummies. But instead of there being mummies and things, she sees tons and tons of these same like canopic jars that we saw in the first room. Except they're all, there's so many. It's almost the number of bodies actually stored here must be uncountable. It's a huge number. And so she walks forward, and remember, role play and revelation. So here's my thought. And actually, I'm going to ask a question of the fate chart secretly, and then we'll know the answer in a moment. I'm going to say, so chaos rank is up to 6. I think this is likely. 0-2. Extreme yes. Interesting. Okay. So she walks forward, and she gets maybe 10 feet in the door, not far, and she hears a loud, like almost like the sound of stone striking its stone. And then she realizes in front of her, the sarcophagus, there's a line, almost forming down the center of it, and it slowly opens with this incredible sound. This stone grates against stone. And standing inside, she immediately recognizes this undead creature. But from this distance, the features are somewhat shrouded in darkness. It hasn't stepped into the light yet. The eerie light that is inside the chamber. And what's coming from her torch as well. And whenever it steps forward, she's horrified. See, I rolled an extreme yes. The body that's animated in front of her is none other than her father. She recognizes his face. She recognizes the sword at his side. It's his ancestral sword. She recognizes the bow at his back. She knows who this is. And a moment of sheer terror grips her when she realizes that her father's dead body stands in front of her and is being animated. But before anything can happen, she hears his voice say,
"Oh no. I was afraid it would be you."
"Father?"
"Yes, my daughter, it is I."
And he takes a couple steps forward, and his eyes are like maybe glowing a bright purple, but then flash for a second to red as he goes, and he seems to be fighting it for a moment, and then shakes, and his eyes turn back to a bright purple.
"My daughter, what are you doing here? Why have you come? You need to leave immediately."
"Father, I came to look for answers. I came to find answers about what happened to you and to our village. What did happen?" So, my question for the fate chart is, does he know? Is he able? I mean, extreme yes on the last one. I think he does. I think he's aware, especially him. Maybe that's why he's maintained his maybe a form to begin with. He was so strong in life and so knowledgeable about matters of undeath. He was able to navigate whatever process happened after he was sucked into the earth to become this.
"My daughter, this is a result of that foul ritual that happened. It's turned me into this. And now you've stepped foot in this chamber. I'm afraid that you will not escape."
"What do you mean, Father? I can leave right now."
"No. This form will not let you. I will have to take you out. This form maintains my abilities in life, my combat prowess. Daughter, have you ever won in a sparring match against me?"
No. But there's always a first time.
Listen well. Defeat me. Release my soul from this torment.
And he looks at her gloved hand.
You have touched it too, haven't you?
Touched what, Father?
I am unable to say. The spell that keeps my body locked in this form stops me from saying. Find someone of magical aptitude who can reveal the power that's now in your hand.
I will. And again, he has a moment where his eyes turn bright red for a moment, and he draws his sword. It's a silver sword, and it glints in the dim light of the room. And Jem takes a step back, terrified, thinking, is this it? And quickly, and it shakes a couple times, and then its eyes return to a calm purple color.
I can't resist the spell any longer. My daughter, you must kill me, like you have been trained to do.
Yes, Father, I will do that.
Do not cry, for I am already dead.
So she steels herself and kind of, sucks up the tears a little bit. I wonder, but she has a chance. She has one moment to ask her father anything. What would she ask? Father, please, the person who did this to you, his name is Kaima. Do you know what he wants and what he is trying to do? This is important. You only have a moment. Please tell me. What do you know? What does he know? Does her father know? I have no idea. 50-50. 40 is... yes, he does. He does know. Okay. And I've thought of this beforehand, so that's why I'm able to think of it like that.
Yes, I know him. I know exactly what he wants. He is a devil from another plane. A place of torment and death. He seeks to be able to come to this plane, the material plane, as much as he likes, and rule it with an iron fist, like he does his own realm.
But devils and fiends can only be summoned by a person of magical aptitude, correct?
That is correct, my daughter. You remember well. But he is gathering souls of immense magical power and fortitude. He is gathering enough energy to stay in this realm for eternity and rule it as its lord.
But why did he attack our village? Why did he come for us? No one in our village has magical abilities.
Yes, but we are the only ones that can stand in his way. And so he harvested our souls as a way to get rid of us, not to use us. It was a preemptive strike.
So he took our clan out so that no one would be able to stop him.
Correct.
Do you know about Ginny?
I know she's involved, and that she is under his control.
She's not under his control, Father. She willingly has done this.
Do not be so hasty to destroy your sister. Find mercy in your heart before this is all over.
I think that's gonna make her take a step back and maybe rethink what she's done. So maybe rethink her original thought of him killing her.
Listen, there are other stones that he is forming and making right now. You must stop him. There is only so many attempts he has before he must leave this plane. You must stop him, my daughter. You are the only one from our clan that is left. The only one who can do this.
Yes, Father. I will do that. I will stop him.
Good. My daughter, I cannot resist anymore.
Yes. Is this it?
This is it. Listen. Slay me and take my sword. It belongs to you anyway.
Yes. Yes, Father.
My daughter.
At this point, the eyes are flashing purple, red, purple, red, purple, red. Like he's not able to maintain this form much longer.
My daughter. You are strong. And I am glad that I was your father.
And so Jem's struggling to keep back the tears, but she also knows she slowly draws her rapier.
My daughter. And I love you.
And then he closes his eyes. And they open up. Deep crimson, red as blood. And he charges. So, little combat time. Rolling initiative for both of them. This will be fun. So, Jem's initiative is +5 because she's awesome. So she's got a 10. And this guy's initiative is 2. So he's got a 7. So Jem's going to go first. So, Jem sees this creature, and she immediately knows it's some kind of undead white type creature. And so she knows that her rapier can damage it, but it won't do very much. Still, she's got to put her father down. It's time. And so she runs forward, her rapier charges and takes it. She's going to do both attacks, slashing and stabbing as best she can. Okay, so the first attack is going to be +9. So 3 + 9 = 11. Its AC is 14. That's going to miss. But the second one is 14 + 9. That's definitely going to hit. So it's a D8. All right, 3 + 5. That's only going to be 8 damage. Oh, that's rough. All right. Remember that Jem is kind of lightheaded, so she's got -2 to all of her rolls. But even with the -2, she still hit this. So she runs forward, slashes once. Her father takes the white. I'm gonna call her the white, but takes the sword up, bing, blocks the rapier away, and then Jem quickly takes it, stabs as hard as she can into his gut, and it sinks in, and she feels like the cavity just give way as she's really stabbing a husk, but still stabs it, pulls it out, doing 8 points of damage. But remember, it's an undead. It's not immune to this, so it only does actually 4 points of damage. And so she takes a step back and readies for its counterattack. So it's its turn. It gets 2 attacks as well. Alright, 5 + 4 = 9. That's a miss. 16 + 4 = 20. That will definitely hit though. Oh, max damage. 1d8 + 2. That's 10 damage. Jeez. So, Jem, he brings the sword around, slashes once. Jem's able to quickly parry it away, but he, in the midst of it, just takes it, slashes up, just cutting straight across her front. And her leather armor hasn't been worn in a while. She hasn't fought in a while, so it hurts way more than usual. Boom, and it doesn't cut through it, but it definitely is going to leave a bruise. She's hurting, and maybe her stomach or her wound from the spider is going flaring up pretty bad. Alright, it's her turn again. So she knows that she can't really hurt him unless she does some kind of magic. So she has something called Magic Weapon. And so she takes it, touches her sword, or touches her rapier, swings it once, does this motion. So it makes a non-magical weapon until the spell ends. It is a concentration spell. They're up to an hour. becomes magic, +1. Yay, +1, so that negates one of the -2, so it's now only at -1. And most importantly, it counts as a magical weapon, and it lets them overcome resistances. Yes. All right, here we go. Okay, so we got a natural 1. That missed. And a 7 + 9 is 16. That's definitely going to hit his armor class. So first, 4 + 5 = 9. And now it's doing full damage. So that's awesome. Okay, so she swings, she stabs the glowing magic. When it connects this time, she feels like she's actually connecting with like a body, like an actual physical form, and it just, and she can feel it hit bone and other things, and she pulls it out, dust and a little bit of maybe silvery fluid, flings out, and she goes to swing again, but she got a 1. So remember what we do? We roll our percentile. If it is 40 or less, something bad happens. If not, we move on. 90. Okay, so we're good this time. So nothing bad happens, just the miss. She swings, and he brings the sword up, and ching, there's a connection there. So it's its turn, the white. So it also is going to do some kind of a magical thing. So it's going to reach forward and touch her with its open hand. It's a +4 to do that. It rolls a natural 1. Yeah. So we're at 40 again for the enemies. 67. Okay, nothing bad happens, but it does miss. So it reaches forward, and Jem just instinctively touch just out of its reach. And she notices the hand is glowing. There's like black fluorescent light around it. It reaches up, and she just narrowly escapes it. It's her turn. She's gonna slash again. Nice. So we got 7 + 9 is 16 that hits, and so 10 hits for sure. Both of them gonna go D8. Nice. 8 and a 6. So 8 plus, what is it, 5? Yeah, 8 + 5 = 13. 6 + 5 = 11. That's 24 damage. All right. So she takes her, darts out of that, takes her rapier and stabs with all of her might, and it goes just straight through the chest and out the other side. And she pulls it as hard as she can. Silver, viscera going everywhere, bits and pieces of bone going everywhere, and it kind of lurches like this a moment and actually drops his sword. He actually drops his sword and just does this motion, and she takes a step back, kind of unsure what's going to happen. It's its turn. On its turn, it starts, it like almost like goes incorporeal for a moment, and it does. Turns to like this mist, and the mist flies back, and but she swings at the mist, but nothing happens. And it standing on top of the sarcophagus where it came out of, and it's got its bow drawn, and Jem can see in its quiver 4 arrows. He pulls one arrow out, shing, and whenever it pulls the arrow out, the arrowhead is this large looking, like it's got curve on it. It looks nasty. I don't think Jem's gonna want to get hit by this. It's rolling in. 8, 4 is 12, and that misses Jem's AC of 16. So, that's good. It fires the bow, and when the arrow's flying through the air, it's like a beam of light. It just flies so quickly, and Jem just barely manages to duck out of the way just in time. And whenever it hits, she hears a loud boom, like almost a large cacophonous. Turns back just in time to see that where the arrow is hit, there is now this massive hole in the ground. The stone was just vaporized like that. She knows she cannot get hit by this arrow. Oh my goodness. So it's now Jem's turn. All right, she's gonna just quickly. She takes her sword, pulls out her bow, and she's gonna return it in kind. She pulls out one of her arrows, and she does an incantation and does the symbol in the air, and lightning that arcs all the way around her hand as she touches the arrow, and the lightning transfers to that arrow, and there's now it's almost like around the arrowhead there's like a spiral of lightning. She takes aim and fires. 10 + 11 is 21. That definitely hits. And it does 4d8 damage. Woohoo. Plus the 5, so yeah. 8 and 8. Woo, 2 max. That's 16. So he's gone. A third 8. Nuts. And a 7. This is like 1 below max damage. So 4 times 8 equals 32. So 31 damage plus 5. That's going to be... my goodness. She could have taken this guy out in the first one. She just did this. So she steals it. She just dodges. Looks. He's reaching for the next arrow. And she sighs really deeply. Looks up. Sees the form of her father. And just whispers very quietly, "Goodbye, Father." Aims, fires the arrow. Lightning arcs to the air as the bolt goes, and it hits square right here. Lightning erupts from the wound, and the whole chamber is lit up as lightning arcs from the white on top of the sarcophagus, to the point where jars start exploding in the side as lightning arcs and destroys. Ashes and dust go everywhere, all around the room, almost creating this weird misty effect as this being gets shocked into oblivion. The lightning goes out for a moment, and all that's left is the glow that's from Jem's torch that's on the ground, and the eerie glow of the room. Jem steps forward to see the creature, the white, looking down at her and smiling, a deep smile. Its head, clearly with half of its head missing. The body starts crumbling away to dust, and she hears one final, in her father's real, unaltered voice, "Thank you, my daughter." And it crumbles away, and it falls down in front of it, the 3 arrows it had left, next to her father's sword. And she reaches down and picks up her father's sword. It's a silvered saber that was passed down in his family and would one day be passed down to her. Well, now it is hers. And she takes the sword, grabs its scabbard, closes it, and picks up the 3 arrows, almost afraid to touch them, and puts them in her quiver and leaves, walks out. She now knows what she has to do, and she's got answers. But now, she's got another mystery to solve. And so with that, we're going to end here. Jem leaves I think Jem's going to leave these ruins, no problems. We'll roleplay what that is next time. But yeah, Jem has survived the fight with her undead father, has put him to rest, and now leaves with a new sword and some 3 arrows that are really powerful. So who knows? Anyway, thanks so much for watching. We're going to be finishing up Jem's story probably next time and moving on back to Ming. I know it's been so much fun, but time to get back to our protagonist. Jem has got her resolve. We found out a lot about Keimer and his plan to be able to stay in this realm permanently instead of having to be summoned. And he needs tons and tons of souls from people of magical, aptitude. So yeah, lots of stuff going on, but this is fun. I really enjoy it, and I hope you do too. As always, do all the dumb YouTube stuff, like, subscribe, do all the stuff that, you have to do to make this awesome. You guys are the reason I do this, but also I'm doing it for me. It's fun for me, and that's all that really matters. So with that said, I'm Kenneth Lone Dice Guy. Thank you so much. Have a great day. God bless.